So I just want to talk out a little bit of uh, booktube drama to myself. This is strictly disemboweled private reader talk here. There's been the whole what started off as a bit of a bun fight between Steve Donahue and Brian at Bookish, with Steve being very heavy against monetization and Brian being, no, I think you can monetize and that's fine, and it doesn't harm the community. Steve has a different point of view on it and stated that very vigorously, being, pretty hard on what he saw as people who monetize their channel, or at least listening to the language, it seemed a little hard. Um, that ended up with that ended up kind of getting under, very much getting under the skin at Matt at Paperback Junkie. He is somebody who does monetize his channel, and through various things through his channel is how he makes his living. Scrapes maybe a living together as a writer, as an artist. That's how he makes his living. So he really had a lot of objections to Steve's video, and I've been watching Matt from the beginning, as I've been watching all of these guys. And Matt is, when he's a guy who swears, and he swears on his channel. And if that's not something you'd like, you don't like it, because even when he's relaxed, he'll swear, and that definitely offends some people. Not so much myself. I have my sweary days. I have my less sweary days. So yes, he was quite exercised in his video, and really came at it right hard at it, calling out what he felt was Steve's hypocrisy for that, and said a lot of stuff and got very exercised about it. And that didn't go. That seems to have not gone over very well with Steve, who has stopped making videos on his channel for a whole week now. Which, if you know Steve, that's a long time with no videos. He'll do that at the end of the year. He'll have a little hibernation period and then come back. But if he misses a day without videos, he usually kind of just posts something saying, sorry, something came up and I'll be back tomorrow. And then he does 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 videos in the day, which is his more normal output. So you could tell just by that absence that things that Matt said didn't, either upset him so much that he was so pissed off he doesn't want to get in front of a camera and start opening his mouth, or was hurt by it. And probably, there's probably a mixture of the two. It got very heated. What has happened today is that another booktuber who I know quite well, because I knew him as someone who kind of watched my channel and decided to make his own channel and fucking knocked it out of the park. Really awesome guy who's kind of carved out his own kind of a community, like a whole separate, like, this is the thing about booktube, it's not a unified thing. We're sort of a small thing, but there's all these other pockets that are gigantic that we know nothing about. And kudos to Michael K. Vaughan. He's basically made his own. He's made his own pocket, or has become part of like a rapidly developing pocket. And he did a video where it's like, I don't want to be on booktube at the moment. It feels like it's gotten very nasty. He was not happy with Matt and the tone and the style of delivery of the videos. Michael is a class is I guess, lack of a more intelligent word, is a classy guy, measured guy, friendly guy, and I can see that and Matt didn't gel well together. And I think more than that, maybe that's Michael's has got a large channel now, and he's got a lot of people watching him, and all these other guys all have their large audience. And unfortunately, it gets now where if you have a kind of a disagreement amongst yourselves, you do videos on it, because that's kind of how we communicate. It ends up becoming a public discussion you're doing in front of your audiences, and the audiences take sides, and can it becomes that kind of a dynamic where you have people taking umbrage for Steve. Steve hasn't actually directly reacted to the original video from Matt, so you know it's one of those things of, I look at that and think, well, if Steve wants to reply to it, he'll reply to it, but it's not for me to reply to. It's nothing that I am going to reply to. Maybe I thought it was super harsh. I also agree with most of Matt's points at the same time. So, and the comment section, or even a video like this, isn't the place to get into the nuances, the parsing of that, and the kind of also just kind of the egos and the feelings of the people involved. But it's interesting, the different personalities, because someone like Steve has definitely kind of just gone, okay, I'm just going to go quiet. I'm not going to say anything. Whereas Matt, on the other side of the thing, has gone, okay, people are going to want to come at me. I can just make video after video after video until you guys are tired of listening to me talk about this. He did his G-rated version of his original rant, because he said, like, oh, I got all these comments of people saying you're mean because you're swearing. It's like, okay, I'll do the G-rated version. And so he did a G-rated version of his video, which is fine. And then he did a video responding to Michael K. Vaughan saying he's going to leave Booktube, or is thinking about leaving, or just stepping away. And it's like, and Michael K. Vaughan, unfortunately, his video seems to have resulted in some of his audience coming over to Matt and hassling Matt about stuff. And I mean, at this point, it's hard to tell what's hassling and what's like, I disagree with you, and putting points forward, or saying, like, I think you are a sweary bastard. This is the first time I've ever seen you. I've only seen you in this one video where you're upset, and therefore I'm judging everything on that. Which, these are all individual videos, and you can't really say to someone, no, go back to the very beginning of his videos, watch him hanging out with his family and joking, and all those videos, and him hanging out with Steve in videos, all that sort of stuff. You can't really tell people to do that, but that's the context I'm bringing at it. And yeah, now he seems to be wanting to, it's kind of like we're getting into a tussle with Michael K. Vaughan, which I think is just kind of missing the point. And it is sad. It is sad. Why am I talking about it right now? I guess I'm talking about it right now just to kind of talk myself through it, because I think before, a couple of controversies ago, of watching other people kind of joust on BookTube, and like people I really liked getting really into it on BookTube, this would have devastated me. But I don't feel that way. I don't feel that way now. It's much more, is this my anxiety video for this week? Maybe it is. I don't really feel that way anymore. Just because I'm starting to get a little bit more of a detached, world-weary view of how these things go, that this actually isn't probably about the content. This isn't about the particular people involved. This is a social media interaction, a social media parasocial, warring camps, warring fandoms, that are, and then that kind of having nasty comments in your comment field, even if they aren't from Michael K. Vaughan to Matt. It's like it's people who came from Michael K. Vaughan's video who are pissing off Matt, so Matt's now pissed off at Michael K. Vaughan and kind of taking swipes at him when it wasn't really Michael. Well, he does cite Matt's video as the thing that slightly pushed him over that way of not of wanting to take a step back from BookTube. But I just switched to my small channel, which I'm very happy because I could make a little video, which I put a little introduction in the front of it saying, oh, this, about, it's too bad that Michael K. Vaughan is taking a step back, but that's, you got to make that decision on your own. Where was I going with this? Yeah, I'm drifting now. I'm drifting, but just that, yeah, it doesn't upset me. It's like, no, this is kind of how things go, and I can see someone like Michael saying like, wow, I'm getting a large channel, and it's like at some point someone's going to make a video like this about me because I'm not really a person, and it's probably tough. However right someone might be in ranting against you, that other people will watch the video and cheer it and find it entertaining. That's kind of disheartening, and that might disillusion you about what exactly you're doing here, which unfortunately is the kind of the nature of having friends and stuff like that on YouTube, but also losing sight of there's kind of weird audiences here, and not everyone's going to like you, and some of the people who don't like you are going to cheer when somebody else takes you down a peg if you've gotten large enough, which just kind of, it's unfortunately it seems to be kind of it's human nature, and human nature isn't always particularly that kind. And it's like, I can say this with detachment because I've definitely I've worked on being very small and insignificant, and someone that no one's watching. So I guess it's a lot easier for me to say that than someone like Michael K. Vaughan or like Steve Johnny or Matt, who have got audiences in front of them, and are sort of at the center of those storms. I that's really really a tough place to be for all of them, and it puts them all under a weird kind of stress and puts you in a weird kind of, you're on stage being heckled, and you kind of have this instinct to perform back. This is all we're a strange kind of beast, the people who make videos. We have this kind of weird performative side of things, and it's performative not in like a fake way, but in a way of like, we're trying to get across what we're enthusiastic about or what we're thinking, and the way you do that is you perform it, you communicate it, and a lot of communicators out there who are not having a great time, and they're communicating that in their videos, which is tough. All right, that's enough ramble, I think, on this subject, and it's good to just talk it out. This might be another anxiety video as much as it's a booktube talk video that I wanted to do and then lose in the great sea wash of the internet, where hopefully in a couple of months no one will remember this at all. It's just another little daily blip of the internet, and of hopefully of our particular neck of booktube too. It will blip away and no one will particularly remember it. We'll move on to the next thing, which is another part of human nature, because there'll be people at the center of this that won't forget. I know that from stuff. It's like, there's stuff that I had happen. The only one thing that happened on my old channel that I remember, and I always will remember, and it'll always shade how I react to booktube. And that's not a bad thing, because I think it's maybe a realistic and a useful life lesson to get, for if you're gonna live on here, you gotta kind of know the ugly truths as well as the good ones. And yeah, this is parasocial social existence electronically. Kind of weird. There's an audience, there's me, but there's also friends and me, and sometimes that gets a little confusing, and sometimes we react to people that we don't know, and we just watch their videos as their friends, and somebody's attacking our friends, so we gotta attack back, and it's like, that's kind of natural, but it's also, we're losing sight of, I know these people through videos. I make videos, but the only way I know all these, the actors in this is, I've had more interactions with some than others, but the way I know them is through their videos, which is another way of saying I don't know them. I just think I just think I know them, and it occupies a strangely large part of the real estate of my head as a result, which is interesting, and that's a part of doing this reset. It's like, okay, I'm going to embrace that. I'm not going to get too freaked out about it, except when I get freaked out about it and I talk about it all the time. But yeah, all right, I will leave it there. I've been Jay. More videos later.